Welcome back to Lessons Learned. I'm Sherry. This is your Wednesday video. Today we're going to do another scrap stash buster project. This is going to include some of my stash and some of my scrap. I noticed that I had a quantity of scrap cuddle Minky here, and this stuff takes up a lot of room, even the scraps. So I wanted to eliminate that from my scrap section. And also I still have an abundance of charm packs that I'm whittling down. And I've had these four, these are half quantity of a charm pack. Normally they have 42 and these have 21 or something like that, if I counted correctly. So this is basically like two of these is one charm pack. So I've had these for about 3 years, never done anything with them. They're just rainbow colors. And I also have this charm pack right here of 42. It's called Illustrations by Moda, and it was designed by Ali K Design. And this is mostly grays, blacks, and whites, as you can see there. I'm going to make a rag quilt, and many of you already know how to make rag quilts, but maybe you've never used Minky on the back before. And I have to admit, this is my first time as well, and I'm not going to use batting. So if you want an extra puffy, fluffy one, you might want to put some batting in it, or at a minimum some flannel. I'm just going to make a slinky blanket for a baby size, 40 by 40. Here is the concept. I'm calling it Black, White, and Bright. And yes, I know that is a name of a fabric line of someone's, maybe Tula or somebody, I'm not sure. But anyway, it's the name of my pattern that I just put together here. This is not anything complicated whatsoever. As you can see, here is where I'm putting my black and white and grays. And then in between, I'm putting these, which are the different colors that I have here. Now I'm going to combine all of these, at least 3 of them. I need 100 squares. This is 10 squares by 10 squares. You can make it any size you want. Just do the math. But I think I'm going to combine these into their color categories and do it like I have here. Start with my light pinks, go into dark pinks, reds, orange, yellow, greens and yellows, then into the blues, purples, and blacks. So that's how I'm going to do mine. I'm just gonna, I figure I have, if I use 3 packs, I have 3 at least of each color, and that will disperse it pretty good through there. And then I'll have this kind of nice bright swipe of light right here that'll just kind of pop out. So that's my idea. This will be turned into 5-inch squares, and then as we sew these together, these will be 4 inches because we use a 1/2 inch seam allowance for our squares. So I did one here. I'm using a gray thread, just kind of a silver gray thread, and I think that'll look good on everything. And put my Minky on the back, and I'm sewing on the Minky because you can't hardly push this through your machine. The machine bed just kind of wants to grab it. Your feed dogs wants to grab it, and it's just awful to do. So sew with the right side of your Minky up, and then on the bottom you have the right side up of your main fabric. So there's not going to be much to teach on this. It might be a very short video. I do have almost all of my squares cut out of the Minky. I had other scraps than this. This is my last big piece of scrap. It was from a backing that I used on the long arm, and I had some long strips. So I've already cut 3 or 4, or yeah, probably 3 long strips into squares. I just need to cut this into squares. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to finish up this so that I have at least 100, and then we'll get to sewing. you've ever worked with a Minky before, you know there's a lot of this, what I do is I use one of these Scrub Daddies, the gray one that has the big bubbles in it, the big open bubbles. And I just take and pick all that up. It picks it up. So also where you've made some grooves in your mat, maybe your mat's not real new like mine is not real new, and you've got some grooves where that wants to get in there, this works really well to get it out. And that works well with batting as well. Okay, so I went ahead and took my 3 charm packs of the more solid and put them in their groupings of 3. I may or may not use all of these. I didn't count how many they came up to be, but I'm probably going to start with the light pink and go through, and then as I go on, I'll probably eliminate some. But these white ones, I'm definitely going to eliminate. There's some sort of like really hard paint on those. I don't know what you'd call it. It's kind of like, you know how grunge has a little bit of texture to it? It's like that, except it has a lot on the white. Just the white ones. And I may eliminate the black ones since I have some in here that are pretty dark. We'll see. So I'm just going to leave those on reserve. And then I still have another one of these Spectrum by Whistler Studios if I need it. So I have plenty of squares here. Got all of the Minky cut up into squares. So all I'm going to do is put wrong sides together. And yes, I'm going to sew on the Minky side. I'm going to go from one corner to the other. And then once I get all of those chain pieced, I'll come back and do the opposite way. And then I'll show you how to put together the squares. I'm using a 3 stitch length. You don't have to use that big of one if you don't want to. Remember, wrong sides together. Now I get to do it all in the other direction. All my squares are sewn with the X on each one. Right sides out on both sides, fuzzy side, colored side. These are ready to be sewn together, just simply sewn together. I have 86. I did not have enough Minky for 100. So I'm just going to use 81 and make my quilt 9 by 9 squares instead of 10 by 10. The result will be the same. So if you need to adjust your size, you can make it smaller or bigger using this pattern. Okay, I'm about to finish up my first row of 9. So I just wanted to test this out a little bit before I decided to tell you how to do it. So anyway, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have one more to put on. So I'm going every other one a black and white. I started with the black and white. And I'm kind of glad that I had to change to 9 because that makes each row come out with the same square on the end. So I started with the black and white and I'm ending with the black and white. I like that. 10 by 10 didn't do that. So your odd numbers in your rows will make your, I don't know, that's just something I like. So anyway, The hardest part of this is just remembering to put your two fuzzy sides together. It's very forgiving, very, very forgiving. You can pin this if you want, and then just make a seam a 1/2 inch or so, consistently about a 1/2 inch. And I put my stitch length back down to 2.5. You could go 2 probably, and then just sew these. And then what happens is later we're going to clip these, and they're going to get all raggy looking. Now that we've put a stitch across here into the Minky, it's staying put. So anything that's coming off of it now is from before, from a raw edge or something. And when we do all the washing and ragging that needs to take place, all of that will dissipate. It'll get less and less. I'm glad I waited to clean my sewing area. I told you guys to clean your sewing area and your machine on Monday. I haven't done mine yet. I'm glad I waited until after this project. So fuzzy sides together, 1/2 inch, 2.5 stitch length. That's all there is to it. 9 patches in a row. And I am back stitching on the front side and the back end, the beginning of the seam and the end of the seam. So here is my finished row. I finished row 1. It's going to be cute. So this is probably about 36 to 36 or so, I think. The 10 by 10 is 40 by 40. I think this will be 36, if I'm thinking right. So I'm going to go and do some more rows, and then I'll join the rows together. Same thing, you can just go ahead and fuzzy sides together and just make one long seam, a 1/2 inch, to put your rows together. So next you'll see some progress here on my rag quilt. Now I have all of my 9 rows together. I have a complete quilt now. Not completed though, just completely put together as far as the rows go. I still have to go around and put a line of stitching about a 1/2 inch around all of the edges. You can bind at this point. I've seen that done, where you can bind it just like a normal quilt and then go ahead and do your ragging in here. So after I get my 1 row of stitching all the way around the quilt, I'm going to start clipping these. And all you have to do is just take some scissors and clip to the stitching, not beyond the stitching, of course, because you would cut your stitch line, but just short of the stitches there. And you just make a little clip every 1/2 inch or so, quite a few. So after that, I'll show you that, and this will be ready to go in the wash so that we can get this to rag up a little bit. Here's the back. Should look something like this. And no, I did not pay any attention to the nap on the cuddle, on the Minky. And you can see I've got some going some ways and some going another way. So that's just gonna, it's just gonna add interest, don't you think? I think it does. Okay, let me get those last couple of tasks done. Okay, I got my stitch all the way around, and I have 2 different kinds of scissors that can be used, just any kind of sharp scissors. These actually are made for ragging. You just take them loose, kind of like you do your pruners, and they have a reverse spring on them, so as you're doing your ragging, it kind of springs back. I find this a little bit hard on my hand. This, however, the little Karen K. Buckley scissors, they're very easy to use and glide really easy in your hand when you're opening and closing them. So I probably will use these. The advantage to having these is they're just exactly the right depth for cutting your, you can kind of stick your point to the inside of your seam there, and it knows where to stop. So I think that's why these were made the way they were for this actual purpose. But to save my hand, I'm going to use these. I've got lots of this to do, so I will be back with you momentarily. Still not done clipping, but I wanted to show you how it's going. I've got it all clipped along the edges here, up in this corner, and all of my seams, and they still look pretty raw, but we'll get this in the washer when I get through with all the clipping, and we'll see how it looks. I did not get my color wash effect that I wanted from the pattern due to changing the amount of squares I had, so it's okay. Black and white and bright. Here's what the back should look like, and this too will kind of ball up a little bit. I'm thinking it will here on the edges. So that's the back of it. The back's more interesting than the front. But it makes a 38 by 38 square quilt. Come back on Friday, I'll have this all washed up and ragged really nice, so you can see the full effect. And another scrap stash busting project for 2025. Have fun making this one, and I'll see you soon.